Hello and assalamu alaikum everyone. I hope that you can hear me and see the screen as well. I would like to warm welcome you to everyone. Thank you so much for being part of today's session and welcome to Opening Mind Mental Health Awareness Series.
Walaikum assalam. Hoping the same for you. Yes, it is visible. Thank you.
All right, then let's just start. I would like to introduce myself. My name is Afra Arshad, and I'm the CEO and founder of Team Therapy Wellness. And I'm so thankful to each one of you for being part of fourth episode. And Alhamdulillah, we have conducted three episodes, and Alhamdulillah, after such a great response, now we are heading towards our fourth episode. Well, a little bit about myself. I'm the founder of Teen Therapy Wellness, and I've been running this organization since 2019. Well, Teen Therapy Wellness, we focus on providing awareness campaigns, community engagement, and one-on-one sessions are also conducted, as well as group sessions are also conducted under Teen Therapy Wellness. Well, I have, uh, just give me a second. All right, then. Let's move on to today's inspiring voice, and that is Saman Azhar. It's my honor to introduce our speaker for today. She's a mental health coach with Overcome in a UK-based organization where she offers tailored support using CBT, ACT, and motivational interviewing. She also holds masters in clinical neuroscience from City University of London. And I'm really thankful to Saman Azhar. Today, she'll be talking about digital dopamine, mental health in the age of reels and filters. Thank you once again. We are incredible. We are honored to have you with us today. I hope that she's also here with us now.
Yes, I'm here.
Saman, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
All right. Let me just give you the screen and then we can move on.
Perfect.
All right.
All right. I think we're good to start. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, perfect. We can hear you.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. First of all, I just would like to thank Afra for this amazing opportunity. I'm so excited to get started. Um, all right. Um, this is a very, I would say, renowned and very important topic in today's age. So today we'll be discussing digital dopamine, mental health in the age of reels and filters. Moving on to understanding screen time. Could you please move the slide? Could you please move to that slide if that's possible? Yeah. So in the meantime, as we all know, I think it's a no-brainer that we all know what screen time is. We are on our phones constantly. So I think, yeah, screen time just I think refers to the total duration individuals spend interacting with digital devices, such as smartphones, computers, tablets. But I think smartphones would be the most significant device that we use. And then looking at the stats, we can see that the average person spends around nearly 7 hours a day. That is only a day, like literally just on their phone. Now we know that usage of phone has different meanings for it's either for education, self-learning, entertainment. But most of the times, what is being done is just like screen time is just being maximized for entertainment. Sorry. Sumbal is saying she can't see the screen. I think I can see it, so if everybody else can see it, let me know if it's just Sumbal or if you just want me to like stop or start again. All right, perfect. All right, I guess I'll just continue going on then. So yeah, as I was saying, I think it's a very staggering figure that it's literally us using our phones for 7 hours consistently throughout the day. And like obviously it would be in chunks, but it's still mind-boggling. Looking at the statistics in Pakistan specifically, mobile phone penetration has gone from 10% in 2014 to at least 51% in 2020. Now that's a huge increase. And young adults such as ourselves and like young teens are the ones who are the most consistent users of phones. So I think it's a very important and a very renowned topic to talk about. And then before going into the depth of it, I would just like to ask everybody, how much time do you think you spend daily on like social media, or like all of the platforms that we do use, such as Instagram, TikTok, YouTube? What do you guys think? Feel free to like speak or like chat in the comments. I would be happy to read them. Definitely, yes. 8 hours, 10 hours is definite. I think a definite true answer. Perfect. And what you guys and like which platform do you think you guys spend the most time on? Because I know for me, it's literally just YouTube. So yes, those Instagram reels are definitely a head turner. Definitely. All right, perfect. Thank you. Moving on to the next slide, which is the main um, exciting slide of this whole presentation, is just digital dopamine. So I'm pretty sure you guys have all heard about dopamine, which is like the neurotransmitter, the happy, feel-good molecule. So it's just like a chemical neurotransmitter in our brain. It helps us in feeling like pleasure and like motivates us to do stuff and creates habits and all of that stuff. So in terms of like in using dopamine as a digital phenomena, it would be that the digital dopamine loop is a psychological phenomena where engagement with online activities, particularly on social media platforms, triggers the release of dopamine in the brain. So with this neurochemical, it creates a reinforcing cycle, which urges the users to continue engaging with digital content. For example, in layman language, let me just explain. Like if you look at this diagram and you see like first of all, if you like post a story, a post, a story, or like a carousel or anything on YouTube or TikTok or Instagram, whatever. And then you're just like anticipating feedback. You're like anticipating followers, likes, comments, DMs. And once you do get that, you feel a rush of emotions. And those emotions are usually like very good and very happy. And that is where the dopamine comes in. And then it associates that with like good feelings. And then there we have a dopamine spike, and then it just reinforces that action. So your brain and yourself are just craving for that recognition and like for that reward yet again. So you're like constantly checking your phone or your account if there have been any more notifications for like likes and comments. So this is like a very vicious cycle that keeps going on, and that leads to like, constantly being on your phone, constantly checking your notifications and all of that stuff, all of this stuff. um so yeah, so each notification provides a small burst of dopamine, reinforcing the desire to seek out more dopamine. So this continuous cycle is a very vicious cycle, which can lead to like excessive screen time and dependence on online validation, which we'll discuss in our later slides. But yeah, and it's also been said, according to Burhan and Co., that the digital dopamine phenomena is quite related to gambling because the stakes are unpredictable. That towards gambling, you're not sure how much and when the reward will come, if the reward would come. So that people really do compare that to that. Yes, Manahil, you have got your hand raised. I would love to hear you.
I guess it might be unintentionally, so kindly continue.
All right. Moving on, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have or feedback you may have at the end of the session. Moving on to the next slide, please. Perfect. And then we have the illusion of perfection, social comparison. I think it's very, very common to see, and it's a no-brainer. I mean, everybody has done it. I've done it. We often compare ourselves to people on social media. I would like to ask if you guys can just raise your hand or like put it in the comments if you've ever like compared yourself to else, somebody else's life on Instagram or like any of the platforms. What do you guys think? I would love to see. Okay, I don't see any comments coming in, so I don't think you guys
Yes,
have.
we have. We have. We
All
do.
right, all right. I was like, I can't be the only one. All right. um, yeah. All right, perfect. Yeah, definitely about our looks. That's the whole game. It's just such a devious game where we play comparing our looks to others.
This about
Okay.
status also. Like,
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
yeah.
Yes. A lot of stuff. You have friendships, status, looks, travel, finances. It's a lot, and you're just like, damn, I need to get that. Yeah. So basically, I think, as I've said, the key drivers for us to socially compare would be the highlight reels, where, as you know, Instagram has those infamous reels, and everybody has just like polished, curated lives on there, just letting us know where they're going, what are they eating, what are they doing. So it's just like I wish I could do this and that. But it's very, very important to remember in this aspect is that they're only showing a portion of their lives, and that portion also might be distorted. So it would be illogical to think that people who post on the internet do not have any worries or any concerns or any stresses like we do. So everything, I think, it's a topic, it's a discussion. It's often to think about the self perception that we hold of ourselves and of others, and to realize that it's all portrayed as highly idealized aspects of their lives. Yeah, definitely. Perfect lives, as they said. So it just distorts our self-perception. And we start looking at our flaws. It's like, I should have been this perfect. I should have this body, or I should have these clothes or this bag. So it's like never ending. And then moving on, Snapchat, as you all know, created the, yeah, definitely. It's scripted. Yeah. Definitely. I think it's mind-boggling how much time is spent on like actually creating a false scenario to post online, and it's just and then like brainwashing others. It's madness. I say that as I keep scrolling on Instagram. I mean, I know it is not real, but I'm just like I cannot stop watching. So it's like, as I said, a vicious cycle. And then as I was talking about Snapchat, Snapchat is I think definitely the first one, if I'm not wrong, who brought out beauty filters, where you're just like able to like put on instant alterations to your face and to your appearance, so it blurs the lines between authenticity and fiction. And you're just like, I wish I had a thinner nose, and I wish like I had fuller lips. Yeah. mm, yeah, definitely. I was like, I should go to that restaurant and like eat that stuff, even though I'm just like, ghar ka khana acha hai." All right, moving on. So yeah, definitely. I think the filters that Snapchat brought really really created a lot of body issues also, because as I said, a lot of body dysmorphic tendencies, and like the flaws that you might not have really realized or really recognized of yourself or taken notice of, and you're just like, I really don't like my lips or like my nose, and you're just like super fixating yourself on that, and you're just like it slowly but surely creates a lot of body dysmorphic tendencies, which consequently lead to anxiety, depression, all of that stuff. And then we have algorithmic amplification. So it's just like the social media platforms know what they're doing. They are pretty much aware of the dopamine loop, and they're just like profiting off of that, and profiting off of that to like help us. They're not basically helping us, they're like literally reducing or decreasing our brain capacity to actually think and act functionally and critically. So it's just like they boost that idealized content, and you're just like, I really should be like that. And then for them it's just like easy money. For us it has a very strong and long lasting emotional impact, which first of all results in envy. You're just like, you say that you're not feeling envious, and you try not to feel envious, but you are definitely feeling envious. I mean, I know I've definitely felt that. So you're just like, constant exposure to the idealized lives can literally lead to feelings of resentment and inferiority, and then you start being ungrateful for the things that you already have. So it's like a whole vicious cycle. Low self-worth, once depression, anxiety, body dysmorphic tendencies, as I discussed earlier, these all go hand in hand when you constantly consume this brain rotting content. Moving on to the next slide, please. Can you move on to the next slide? Mhm. All right. Well, in the meantime, until they do move on, now I think everybody is saying they can't see the screen. So I hope that can be fixed. Yeah, and definitely your comment, Ansa, about nobody compliments someone because they think it's filters, definitely. And you're just like, how is that possible? So many filters, and you're just like, I rather have my own perfectly normal nose. Thank you. I don't want a super slim nose. I can just contour for that. All right. Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much. Let me just close this. All right. And then we have the validation. Yes, perfect. Thank you. And then we have the validation trap, which is seeking external approval. I think it's yet again a no-brainer. Once you start posting on social media, once you start like engaging with your followers or the community on social media, you are eventually consequently seeking approval from your online community, and that becomes very tricky when your community um, is not really what do you call that? I can't find the word. They're not really reciprocative of like what you've posted, and or if the feedback is like super negative, and you're just like, maybe I should definitely have a plastic surgery now. And you're just like, are you actually taking advice or feedback from someone behind the screen who you don't even know? So it's definitely something we've all thought about. So this cycle is, yeah, definitely they become insecure. Yeah, definitely I've gone through it myself. So it's literally a long cycle to get through. So just looking at this little diagram, first of all, if you post, like for example, a selfie, a story, or a thought, then you start waiting. You can repeatedly check for engagement and responses. So like you wait for somebody to like react to your story. Exactly, yeah. So it's all about changing our real selves. We're like, we need to change ourselves so people in our online community actually accept us, which is just super twisted. um so yeah, so as I was saying, it's just like, you keep waiting for those followers, those DMs, those likes, those comments to your selfie and story. And then once they do come in, you feel really validated. Like for example, just as Eid just passed, and you're like posting all of your Eid pictures, and you're just waiting for people to like, comment and be like, exactly, leads to low self-esteem. So you're just waiting for people to comment. It's like, amazing look, mashallah, looking beautiful, heart. So, all of these comments and all of these likes lead to our validation, lead to increasing our online validation, which is very, very um, detrimental to our own self-worth and our own self-esteem. For example, if we might not get any, since the nature of likes and followers and comments is very unpredictable, what if you don't get any likes or comments once you're used to getting that? Or what if you get a lot of negative comments and likes, and then you're just like, I feel really bad about myself. I definitely should go on a hunger strike. And you're just like, so it's just like a vicious cycle yet again. I keep repeating a vicious cycle because it exactly is. I think no word better fits than vicious cycle. Even if people change themselves, they still don't get the positive feedback, because comments are like, you did it because of your, exactly. That's another point. I don't think we can ever win in this digital age. It's just like, you were better before, but then you changed your nose, so you wanted to get more attention from people. So it's just like, you can't win. You're just like literally stuck in the middle. Um, and yeah, so this cycle yet again just keeps following and keeps going, keeps moving and moving. So it's more like a cyclic behavior, which is driven by the desire for external approval on social media. Yeah, and then the psychological mechanisms that are involved in this is just like, as I mentioned, dopamine. Once you get those positive feedbacks, the dopamine is triggered, and then that cycle starts again. And then you start comparing yourself, your personal values linked to the performance of your post. For example, if you've got like 100 comments and 150 likes, you'll feel really good about yourself, and then you'll link your personal value to those specific comments, even though they might have just like, given them just for the sake of giving them कि क्या याद करेगी, दे ही देते, even though इतनी अच्छी नहीं लग रही. So it's just like, I've seen a lot of stuff, and I've heard a lot of stuff. So it's just like, that really reduces and decreases your self-esteem, definitely. And it also affects your thinking pattern. This is one of the main factors that really, like, are the start of like a mental health disorder. So like, it eventually goes on. Yeah, definitely serotonin also decreases once you get that negative thing. Sorry, it's just raining outside, I'm just looking. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And then that is a very huge thing. I remember when it was a huge scandal for Fair and Lovely. It's like the girl, everybody used to buy Fair and Lovely, so they can be as fair and white as the girl on like the bottle. So it was a huge scandal, and they eventually changed the name to Glow and Lovely, which still does not, like, it still beats the purpose of like inclusivity and all of that, even though the person on the bottle is still white. So you're just like, what is happening? Yeah. And then you have intermittent reinforcement. Some people are like posting pictures and posts. उसके अलावा Exactly. So like forced likes, and like, I mean, I'm going to admit I've been a victim of that. But you definitely want to, like, you actually send your post links to your friends and stuff to, like, please like it and please comment it, and internally you're just feeling really validated, even though it's just like, they would not have done it if you wouldn't have said it. But we don't really look at that aspect. We just look at the literal instant gratification that we get, and we see a lot of likes and comments. Yeah, so this is more like a conditioning effect, encouraging compulsive checking. So it's just like, how many likes do I have now? How many heart emojis do I have now? And then, as mentioned, as always, um, this all leads to, and if I'm speaking really fast, please let me know. I have a tendency to do that. Um, this leads to many things, like we trust strangers on the internet more than our parents. Exactly. We're saying exactly. Definitely, yeah. So it's mostly, we get really annoyed when people say, iski sar dard phone ki wajah se ho rahi hai, which is technically very true, but you don't want to actually rationalize that thought at the moment, because you're just like, अभी तो मैं खुश हूँ तो सही चलता है. And no one is safe because AI is a huge scam. Yeah, that is definitely another can of worms that one needs to open. um, yeah. And as somebody I think mentioned before, it also affects the thinking pattern. So once your thinking pattern is affected, those negative thoughts start coming in again, and then you're just like, definitely. It's a request if you explain in both English and Urdu mix, not just purely English. All right, I'll try. Thank you for that suggestion. I do tend to speak in Urdu sometimes, but I'll try to do it more. All right, perfect. And thank you for being so engaging. I love it. Okay. Yeah, and then there's also another thing of like FOMO, fear of missing out. So like, I need to constantly be on social media so I don't miss any status updates, any news stories or whatever. So you're just like, and that eventually leads to a lot of excessive screen time, and then yeah, it just keeps getting worse. All right, moving on. All right. Now, before we move on, I did have one question to ask you, even though we've already been having a very healthy conversation. Um, I know that we've talked about beauty filters and all of that, and how it's oftentimes regarded as a lot of attention-seeking behavior. But in terms of this conversation, in terms of this gathering, I would like to ask, in what ways do you think filters and curated contents have affected your self-image? If I were to answer this, I would say that at the beginning, it really did affect my self-image, because I didn't really used to notice my weight, or like the fat that I have on my body, or like how my hair looks, or like how my nose looks. Like, is it too long? Is it too broad here? Should it get thinner? So I definitely have been a victim of that, and have been constantly using filters. I mean, I would like to say that I've stopped now, but you never know. But yeah, what do you guys think? What
I
do you?
would like to,
Yeah,
yeah, thank you so much for ask for this opportunity to share our views.
of course.
Well, I would say that we have started more self-questioning, self-doubting, and the self-expect acceptance is one of the essential thing, but it has been reduced drastically with these superficial and materialistic kind of approaches, where we are no longer that we do not have that willingness for the self-expected acceptance. The way, I mean, the physical. Why uh, should those physical attributes uh, do really matter, other than the true character and the real high virtues? So let us also hear from others then.
Yeah, definitely. It's a very good point that you brought about self-acceptance, because a lot of low self-awareness about your own self-awareness, self-acceptance, and like, really accepting yourself as you are. You just keep looking for validation from everybody else. Like, मैं ठीक लग रही हूँ ना, मैं अच्छी लग रही हूँ ना. Just, you need to trust yourself that you do look good. So it's just like a whole um, scenario. And yes, definitely, your comment about physical attributes should not matter. It's literally what's internal rather than what's external. So, but a lot of people don't recognize or don't acknowledge that. So that is, I think we have a long way to go for that. Um, yes, yes, yes. Looks are the most important point, no matter. Definitely, yes. We have to be pretty so that we can be accepted and we can be liked and loved. I trust myself more rather than social media. I know what to wear. Yeah, I'm very happy for you, Tanya. That's very good. I have also noticed that people actually start copying other people's poses. So yeah, definitely, definitely. Um, yeah, definitely. I think Isha, your point about copying other people's poses, इससे मुझे एक बात याद आती है. I remember, I think when we were in O levels, the duck face, um, pose was very very in these days. I think it's still in. I have no idea, but it was literally everybody on Instagram and Insta was literally doing a duck pose, and I'm like, can you stop doing that? It's literally going to make you look like I don't even know how to do it, but it's I can't I can't get that image out of my mind. But yes, definitely. Um, yes, Shakir, you have your hand raised. Please
Oh,
speak.
yes. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Saman Monir, how are you? This is
I'm
my
good.
first time to participate in this group. In fact, as far as your point is concerned, I think it all depends on the environment, number one, or to look at the network we have all around. How they perceive the things. With the passage of time and age, thing gets more mature. फिर जो यू नो फ्रंट ऑफ लुक्स हैं या इसके बारे में कमेंट्स देना या लेना फिर शायद
Hmm.
उस तरह प्रायोरिटी नहीं रहती. It all depends on what level of people we have और उनकी क्या priorities हैं. In fact, it all depends on that. So this is my point on this.
Yeah, definitely. I completely agree with your point. It's a lot our own views of self-acceptance and materialism and what is good in the world and what is important in the world is very dependent on the company that we keep and the environment that we are in. If your company is like super bad, I don't want to say another word, but if your company is super bad, obviously your thinking is going to align with those that your company that align with those which you're spending most of your time with. So obviously it's going to be super negative and super reciprocating. So it's all bad. So I completely agree on that. Um, uh, People also question our characters per yes, starts posting and gets up character blaming, following different trends without thinking. Exactly. Oh my God. Yes. I mean, I could never stop talking. But the thing about following different trends is just like people need to know, like, लोगों को पता होना चाहिए what suits them and what does not suit them. So, हर चीज के पीछे चली आते हैं. So it's just like very, very irritating. I will be very open. People actually start complimenting on body figure. Exactly, exactly. Yes, Isha. And then once, for example, if that conversation, like, lengthens and all of that, and you meet in person, and you're just like obviously completely different from your filters, and they're just like, I did not expect you to look like this. It just crushes you super fast and super down, and you're just like, what has just happened? Yes. Iram, you have your hand raised. I would love to hear you. Iram, do you want to speak? If not, that's totally okay. Not like forcing you to do that. All right. Hmm. Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
Assalamualaikum everyone.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Hope you are doing sorry. My mic was not opening, that's why I'm late.
It's all good.
So my point is, I want to yeah, I want to add some point. According to my point of view, when some people go to aesthetic clinic and they can afford, and some people can't afford aesthetic clinic. So they also suffer from anxiety and depression. rather than other people's.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. That's a very, very valid
So
point. I think we have a lot of, yes. All right. I think
thank you
we
very
have
much.
a
Yeah.
very, yes. I think we have a lot of valid reasons and a lot of valid opinions in this specific um, context. It's just like people who can't even afford to, like, get facials or get aesthetic surgeries done, they actually, like, go into depth doing it just so they can look better, as they so they can look better and get more likes and people would actually like them. But that often turns in the other way. It's just like a very um devastating situation, and that obviously consequently leads to, when the person who did get that aesthetic surgery does not get the reaction they had hoped for, then they're faced with feelings of anxiety, depression, loneliness, isolation, social exclusion, the whole lot. People actually try those restaurants and visit those places where they see exactly, yes, yes, definitely, definitely. All right, perfect. Moving on. Yes, vloggers. I mean, it's very interesting and very अच्छा टाइम पास होता है vloggers को देख के सुन के, but you often can't stop yourself from comparing your life to theirs. You're just like, I want to also, मैं भी पूरा दिन बाहर फिरना चाहती हूँ. I want to take photos there and photos there and be like, ये ला दो वो ला दो. So it's definitely understandable. All right, moving on to the next slide, which is, I think, a very pertinent slide, is like, what are the now that we've understood what screen time is, what excessive screen time is, and what excessive screen time does in terms of social comparison and validation, we're going to look at the consequences of screen time, excessive screen time, may I add. So as we all know, the mental health consequences are severe. A lot of researchers have conducted research and have seen that it is excessive screen time is strongly linked to increased feelings of sadness, isolation, anxiety, particularly due to FOMO. And then the constant flux of information can also lead to mental fatigue. Like, you're just constantly consuming that information yet again. And since those platforms have got auto scroll, I think it's called auto scroll or infinite scroll, yes, and autoplay. Those, you don't even have to move your finger up. The reels just keep going and going and going, and you're just like stuck watching. Your brain gets so overstimulated, and you're just like, I need to stop this constant influx information for me to actually think critically, and be like, this is definitely not real. This is definitely very, very distorted, and this is definitely now not how regular, ordinary people live. Um, what is FOMO? Muqaddas, FOMO is the fear of missing out. So, for example, if I were to give you an example in terms of like context, um, people would people often follow like celebrities or like other friends on social media, so they would be constantly checking their stories and their posts to see what they're up to, and like they don't want to miss anything. It's like, what if they're doing this and what if they do that and I miss seeing them that they're doing that. Hope that made sense. But that's definitely one example of FOMO. And in fear, FOMO also exacerbates a lot of social exclusion, because when you see your friends or celebrities even hanging out, you're just like, I feel I'm all alone. I have no friends. What am I doing here? I don't know. I want to go out and like mingle. Whereas you're an introvert, you don't like to mingle. But like seeing that, you're literally like you crave mingling, even though you're just like, I'd rather not. And then once you do go out and you take that step and you go out and mingle, and you're just like, why did I put myself in this situation? I hate this. I should stop listening to people on social media. So yeah, so we have a plethora of mental health disorders, anxiety, depression, body dysmorphic disorders, low self-worth, low self-esteem, and that takes a lot of time, a lot of time to like actually cure that, or actually, I don't think you could ever cure it, but like slowly and but surely, if you work on yourself, you can definitely like understand that your self-worth and your self-esteem is not tied to looking at people on the internet, or tied to comments or views or links or likes or DMs or followers. um And then we have social and emotional development. It's due to us being online 24/7, we have a lot of reduced face-to-face interactions, which can hinder the development of empathy and ability to read social cues, crucial social cues. And this is particularly important for those people, for those young adults, young adolescents and young teens whose brains are still developing, and they still need to go socialize out more. The thing that is the thing that irritates me the most is when I see literally kids aged 6 to 7, literally with an iPad outside, and they don't even realize, they don't even consider their environment, but they're glued to their iPad only because parents don't want them to throw a tantrum. It's literally so annoying. You can literally just like, um, engage your kid in literally something else. I've said literally so many times, so it's literally so annoying. Um, and then it increases our jealousy for our friends. We start to think we're exactly, yes, that is also another part of FOMO. And then we start stalking them, yes. And then, yeah, definitely, as I said, body dysmorphic disorders, looking at your body, you're like, I wish I was a size 6, I wish I was a size 6 or a size 4. And then you start starving yourself to death, and then you just follow the instructions without consulting a professional. Definitely. And other than that, we have cognitive and behavioral issues. Prolonged screen use leads to reduced attention span, increases distractibility, impairs memory. I know this firsthand because I know my attention span has reduced to that of a goldfish. I literally cannot pay attention for more than 15 minutes at a time. So I need to break my stuff into chunks. I'm like, I need to get this done. So I'll just break it into chunks. All right. And then I think somebody also commented that your sleep is also gets disrupted, which is definitely true. So exposure to blue light emitted by the screens, especially in the evening, delays the production of melatonin, which is essential for sleep. And then for the clients that I've worked with, we who have sleep hygiene, who have sleep issues, we literally we help them create a sleep hygiene checklist where the first and most important thing is like no devices and no screen time 2 hours before bed, literally none, and no blue light 2 hours before sleep. So and this leads to poor sleep quality and duration, which negatively affects mood. Because for example, सोचे अगर आपको आपकी अगर आपकी नींद नहीं पूरी हुई भी, लोग कहते हैं ना कि 8 घंटे होनी चाहिए, नींद पूरी नहीं होती, and then you have to wake up for like your duties in the morning, and you're like working on 4 hours of sleep, obviously you're going to be like really, really cranky and really distracted and really just like overall not in a good mood. मेरे से पूछा, I know how that feels. And then you have self-esteem and body image issues, as I mentioned earlier. The curated nature of digital content encourages unrealistic comparisons. Yep, self-doubt. And then, yep, self-doubt, highly susceptible to external influences. This is very, very prevalent in young teenagers, teens, and young adolescents, and from people from the age of 18 and onwards. It's very, very detrimental for them. And I think, yes, and then we use phones to distract ourselves from emotional pain, definitely. And I think most of the times that emotional pain comes from that validation that we were not able to get from what we posted on the internet. And then sleep issues lead to aggression also. Yes, yes, definitely a lot of issues. And then you have risk of addictive behavior. Yep. And then screen time. I think I've talked a lot about like, just using those social media platforms, but a lot of time is also used in playing video games, a lot of video games and like very, very addictive games. Like for example, I remember पिछले सालों में PUBG भी कोई गेम आई थी, and like Ludo भी कोई आई थी. I think they're still not banned or something. So people would spend excessive amounts of time literally just playing Ludo. कि like मेरा 6 आ जाए तो फिर मैं गेम छोड़ दूंगा. और फिर PUBG में, I don't know how PUBG works, but I've heard people play it and you just like, so that also leads to a lot of compulsive behavior. And वैसे भी I think PUBG पे वैसे ही research हुई हुई है कि PUBG triggers a lot of negative emotions such as compulsive behaviors, suicidal ideations. Though don't quote me on it, I just heard it. And then you eventually neglect real world responsibilities and relationships. Um, yes, yes. Hadi comment made me laugh. But yes, PC games, yes. Candy Crush, oh my God, yes. I tried. I mean, I played Candy Crush for a while and then I was just like, I can't do this anymore. It's too overstimulating. I get overstimulated so easily, so I'm just like, I can't do this. All right. So yeah, I think yes. Next slide, please. Mm, Yes, yes. अब ट्रेडिंग वाला business भी mental issues क्रिएट कर रहा है डेफिनेटली यस एंड आई रिमेंबर वो बिटकॉइन का भी कोई सीन आया था तो पीपल वी वर लाइक वी नीड टू कीप लुकिंग एट लाइक द फ्लो चार्ट और समथिंग नीचे ना चले जाए तो नीचे जाए तो मैं खरीद लूँ आई एम लाइक आई डिडंट इवन बॉदर अंडरस्टैंडिंग इट yes Isha, your comment is very very relatable. It's like in terms of the streaks on what's on Snapchat and you just like that instant gratification you feel when you reach like 100 streaks or like 1,000 streaks even and you're just like ये बस स्ट्रीक टूटनी नहीं चाहिए और फिर जब उसके आगे वो आ जाता है सिंबल कि लाइक यू नो टाइम इज रनिंग आउट इसका मुझे नाम नहीं याद बट टाइम इज रनिंग आउट एंड यू टेक्स्ट द अदर पर्सन लाइक प्लीज सेंड मी अ स्ट्रीक स्ट्रीक बंद खत्म नहीं होनी चाहिए क्रिप्टो करेंसी यस डेफिनेटली PUBG is very dangerous for mental health. Yes, yes. Could you please move to the next slide, please? Perfect. Thank you. Now, this is one of my other favorite slides. People are talking to AI. There are apps which people I've seen that they talk. They're like, "Oh my God, yes! Not even husbands, even cats." It's mind-boggling. I've seen a lot of reels, a lot of short videos on TikTok where they've like portrait cats and they're just like dialogues मार रहे हो शेर मार रहे हैं फिर पता नहीं सारे लोग हंस रहे हैं it's just, and you just keep laughing because obviously it's very funny you just like फिर वो आते you like one video concerning that and फिर वो आते रहते हैं you just like damn mostly people leave their job due to PUBG I saw in my society could you please elaborate more on that do you mean leave their job as in they quit their job or like घर काम से फारिग होकर घर जाके PUBG खेलना होता है yeah definitely and definitely I think talking about AI and digital in the digital landscape is very very important because AI definitely needs to be regulated private job all right I would like to assume that apne private I won't like to assume that private job mein apni PUBG khelte hain but perhaps caught while playing by on job. Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's sad for them, but good on them. All right. Moving on to the neurobiology of digital overload. Now, as we know that the human brain is constantly bombarded with digital inputs, leading to overstimulation, as I mentioned earlier, which results in attention fatigue, mental fatigue, and desensitization. And I'm just going to stop here because I saw Ansar's comment. It's like my own brother failed his MCAT test due to PUBG. And considering the fact that he's a topper, yeah, I hope he's better now, and I hope he feels better because that is devastating to know that you're a topper and you just failed because of PUBG. यही तो बात है ना कि like ऐसी games आपको ऐसे नशे में डाल देती हैं कि you're just like बाद में बंदा सोचता है मैं किस चीज में फंस गया था but yeah can you please talk more about AI and its effects on humans as people are getting emotional? Definitely, yes. That is definitely another topic, a topic for another day. I think Afra would like this topic, talking about AI and its effect on humans because are getting emotionally dependent. Definitely, and in terms of therapy, a lot of people are going to chat GPT for therapy, which is just insane. Because it's literally a robot. And they literally just like, reuse and recycle all of the chats that they are stored in that system. kindly consider to address this stupid snap streaks a bit more, even when it's sensitive. Yes, yes, yes. A lot of people are obsessed with that. और अगर फर्ज करो streak टूट भी जाती है, and then they're just like रो रहे होते हैं. I've literally seen people crying with tears in their eyes कि आपकी streak टूट गई. तो मैं कहती हूँ कितनी की streak थी? कहते हैं 1000 की. मैं कहा कोई बात नहीं, pray कर लो. कहते हैं मैंने इतनी मेहनत की थी. मैंने कहा इस मेहनत का आपको कोई फल नहीं मिलना, but okay. But obviously it's more, if you look at it from an empathetic point of view, people have literally um, delegated their whole life and their, not their whole life, but their whole time to, like, you know, creating and maintaining that streak. So it is very important for them. It's very important to approach that topic in a very empathetic manner, because for them it's a very huge deal. But that first step is like to obviously, like, you know, console them and like empathize with them, but then to make them realize that your whole life does not depend, your whole self-worth does not depend on maintaining a streak. I also observe that nowadays people start talking with AI as a human. Definitely, yes, they're neglecting real human interactions and actually talking with AI, which is a robot, in fact. Thank God I'm away from Snapchat streets and TikTok. Good for you. तोड़नी होती है तो ऐड क्यों करते हो? Exactly. Oh my God. Yes, yes, yes. I mean, अभी मेरे पास बाकी sites हैं, but yes, तोड़नी होती है. It's literally not so serious, and I literally don't care. You don't have to get so pissy about it. I'm the one who doesn't send streaks, but my friends send me, and some of them stopped and unfriend because I don't snap. I think that is the only valid way to, like, you know, actually get people off your back. It's just like मैंने नहीं streak भेजनी, because I don't have the mental capacity to actually think about sending streaks and actually maintaining that streak. Create हाँ एग्जैक्टली. इट्स लाइक जॉब की है, स्ट्रीक बस नहीं टूटनी चाहिए, बस उससे स्ट्रीक से पैसे आए ना, फिर तो बात सही है. जिसने ओपन नहीं करनी अनफ्रेंड कर दो. एग्जैक्टली. ऑलराइट, आई थिंक we've done. This is so exciting. Alright. Moving on. Yes, Adam, I'm so sorry. You had your hand raised.
यस मैम, सॉरी. थोड़ी एग्जांपल पड़ी थी तो मैं कहा माइक अनम्यूट करके बात बता देती हूँ. ये जो मैंने पबजी की बात की है, इट्स रियली वेरी वेरी डेंजरस. हमारी उसमें नेबर में एक एग्जांपल है. एक बच्चा अच्छा खासा, उसने मैट्रिक का एग्जाम दिया एंड ही गॉट फर्स्ट एंड ही गॉट इवन वेरी गुड मार्क्स इन मैट्रिक एंड ही गॉट एडमिशन इन फॉर्मा डी. और उसके बाद ये हुआ कि उसने पबजी स्टार्ट किया और साथ में प्लस में उसने प्राइवेट फार्मेसी की जॉब स्टार्ट की. तो उसको ऑनर ने एक फ़ोन किया कि फ़लाँ नेम का इंजेक्शन ऑपरेशन थिएटर में फ़ौरन भेजें एनेस्थीसिया का. तो उसने कहा कि वो इंजेक्शन अवेलेबल ही नहीं है. तो वो ऑनर खुद आया नीचे, तो उसने कहा कि ये इंजेक्शन इतने ज़्यादा रखें और आपने ऐसे क्यों कहा, टेबल पे पेशेंट है. तो ही सेड कि मैं पबजी में बिजी था तो मैंने देखा नहीं. तो उन्होंने कहा कि या तो आप जॉब करें या पबजी, आप ना आपके पास ये दो ऑप्शन है और आप इनमें से एक चूज करें. एंड ही चूज पबजी. आई कांट लीव पबजी, आई कांट लीव पबजी. आगे आपकी मर्जी, आप मुझे रखें या ना रखें. तो उन्होंने वहां से निकाल दिया. और उसके बाद उसने जो डी फार्मेसी में एडमिशन लिया था वो सेल्फ पे लिया हुआ था, इतनी ज़्यादा फीस पे की हुई थी. और एट द एंड जब एग्ज़ाम आया तो घर वालों ने पूछा कि आपके एग्ज़ाम होने थे तो आप घर आए हुए हो इतने अरसे से. तो कहते कि मेरी तैयारी नहीं है, मैं एग्ज़ाम नहीं दे सकता. तो उसकी वो स्टडी भी तबाह, उसकी वो जॉब भी गई. और तकरीबन वो 1 ईयर इसी प्रॉब्लम की वजह से घर पे रहा, सब डिस्टर्ब उसकी वजह से. और अब एट द एंड ये है कि वो एक होटल में वेटर है, एज अ वेटर वो जॉब करे, और वो अच्छा खासा पढ़ने वाला बच्चा था.
I am shocked. I mean, I didn't really hear, I mean, I just heard, but I didn't really hear about real life instances. This is, यही तो सारी बात है. It's literally so sad. ये गेम्स, पता नहीं इन गेम्स में क्या नशा डाला हुआ था या क्या 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 डाला होता है कि लोग इतने पागल हो जाते हैं, इतने हो जाते हैं कि लाइक यू नो मेरी जिंदगी में और कुछ नहीं है, बस पबजी है तो मैं खुश हूँ. Oof, yeah, definitely. I feel so sorry for that. They literally, uh, that is so sad.
Being
Yeah,
a
definitely. Yes.
being a male, I would like to share my point of view. Well, even within the same gender, people do vary, but some nature they do share some kind of specific nature, no? So it is like that, like Mardhar or like the street language. You basically do the um, like team gaming, group gaming. So it is really addictive kind of thing where you literally, virtually, it's kind of war between uh, across the people, with different teams with different people. And मतलब ये जो है, uh, we all don't get the pledge for the real, uh, you know adventure, like आप कैसे कह लेते हैं, मतलब अरीना वगैरह में सब कुछ जाना अफोर्ड नहीं कर सकते, लाइक आप पिस्टल नहीं चला सकते, सारी चीज़ें आप नहीं खुद कर सकते, तो दे गेट द अपॉर्चुनिटी टू डूइंग वर्चुअली। तो ये इस वजह से मेल आर रियली एडिक्टिव एंड रियली prone टू दोज गेम्स, तो ये भी एक रीज़न है।
Yeah, definitely. वही ना, पता नहीं उस गेम्स में क्या डला हुआ है, but it's just like, yes, please always stay away from those things, Muhammad Arif. And yeah, Tanya, PUBG is like a digital drug. अब भी वही बात है ना कि I forgot what I was going to say, but yes, Muhammad, definitely agree with your point. और फिर हाँ, remembered, जैसे आपने कहा ना, virtually they're able to like shoot guns and all of that, ये करके फिर उनका दिल चाहता है कि मैं असल भी काम करूं, तो फिर वो आहिस्ता आहिस्ता बुरे कामों में शुरू हो जाते हैं. All right, moving on, because oh my god, we only have 2 minutes left. All right. All right, moving on to the neurobiology of digital overload. As I said that excessive screen time has a very, very negative impact on our brain's function, especially the prefrontal cortex, because um, that is where our decision making and impulse control and attention की सारी चीजें they actually work. And then since you're getting like overstimulated with a lot of screen time, a lot of a lot of blue screens, the brain region responsible for decision making and impulsive control, they slowly but surely start weaning down because they don't have the time to rest, they don't have the time to recover, and they don't have time to actually think critically or logically. तो फिर आहिस्ता आहिस्ता आपकी सारी चीजें जो है ना, वो आहिस्ता आहिस्ता डिम होती जाती हैं. और फिर उसके हिसाब से आपकी सेल्फ रेगुलेशन एबिलिटीज जो हैं कि लाइक अपने आप पे काबू रखना कि नहीं, अगर आपने अभी खाना खाया है तो आपने अभी फौरन ही दूसरा खाना नहीं खाना शुरू कर देना. तो इसमें यू हैव अ लॉट ऑफ difficulties in self regulating yourself, and makes it a lot harder for individuals to manage their impulses and focus on tasks. And then you have the switching cost and mental exhaustion. वही बात है ना कि जब when you're like super overstimulated, when you're like multitasking between TikTok and Instagram and then Facebook and then Snapchat, the switching tasks that occurs in your brain, it is not enough for your brain to handle that and to efficiently work towards it, towards working with all of that stuff. It needs time to rest and recover. तो इसलिए उसके हिसाब से जो cognitive load आप पे पड़ता है ना, it reduces your short term memory capacity and also decreases your problem solving skills. And then you have the default mode network suppression. The DMN, the default mode network, is responsible for introspection, reflection, and creative thought. जैसे I previously talked about self-introspection and perception. When you're constantly overstimulated and you have your eyes in front of a screen, you're unable to do that. You're unable to think clearly. You're unable to think about yourself clearly. वही बात आ जाती है ना, self acceptance कोई नहीं रहती, self reflection करने की कोई गुंजाइश नहीं रहती. So suppression of the DMN can lead to reduced self-awareness, difficulties in planning and pursuing long-term goals. Exactly. और वही बात, आई थिंक आई वुड लाइक टू लिंक दिस विद द एग्जांपल दैट एरम गेव कि अब इतना को वो उसको वो चढ़ गया है पबजी का दैट हिज डिफॉल्ट मोड नेटवर्क इज जस्ट लाइक not working at the moment and he's unable to pursue long term goals. Like for example, I would like to think कि उसके long term goals थे कि फार्मा डी में उसने एडमिशन लिया तो वो आगे बढ़ना चाहता था. He literally has no capacity to think about those long term goals since he has less time for internal processes and consolidation. फिर हमारी आ जाती है chronic stress and emotion dysregulation. वही बात, सबसे ज़रूरी बात कि ओवर स्टिमुलेटिंग डिजिटल इनपुट्स, वही आपको रील्स आती जाएंगी. You'll literally be swarmed with a lot of overstimulation. You'll get desensitized. And that triggers a lot of physiological stress within the body. तो physiological stress ज़्यादा होगा तो आपको cortisol levels बढ़ेंगे. Once your cortisol levels increase, it activates the amygdala. और फिर मिगडेला एक्टिवेट होएगा तो फिर उसको पता चलेगा जब असल थ्रेट नहीं है तो वो एक्टिवेट होएगा. तो सोचो जब असल थ्रेट होएगा नहीं एक्टिवेट होएगा तो काम क्या होएगा. तो उसकी फाइट और फ्लाइट रिस्पॉन्स नहीं काम करेगी. एंड देन दिस इज अ रिजल्ट ऑफ हाइटेंड सेंसिटिविटी टू स्ट्रेस, इंक्रीज इरिटेबिलिटी एक्सेट्रा. अब फिर इमोशन रेगुलेशन भी नहीं होती, सेल्फ एक्सेप्टेंस नहीं है, सेल्फ रेगुलेशन नहीं है, तो इमोशन रेगुलेशन किधर से होएगी. दे आर अनेबल टू, due to irritability, they're unable to manage their or regulate their emotions. And all of these phenomena consequently lead to mental health disorders, as previously mentioned. I think yes. My 8-year-old cousin knows more about phones than me. Tell me about it. And they eat food while playing a game. Oh my god, yes. अब फिर माँ बाप इसलिए नहीं करते क्योंकि फिर वो बच्चा खाना नहीं खाता है, वो तंग करता है. फाइंड अनदर वे. आपके बच्चे की बेहतरी के लिए क्या हम कह रहे हैं. I have said to my uncle not to do this with them. You are destroying them, but they said don't scold. She's more, yeah. वही है ना. तो फिर माँ बाप को भी कौन सिखाए. Yes, Iram. Iram. All right. Can we move on to the next slide, please?
I'm so sorry, ma'am. I'm so sorry. My mic was not opening. I want to add some my points that about we are talking about teenagers today, but I want to add my point about infants. Infants are also very engaging and they use games, different games as well, and even they can't eat food. They can't eat anything without playing games. So it's very danger for infants. I'm talking about like. 6 months to 1 year kids. I saw many kids around me that they always take food with games. I don't
Yeah,
know. I
yes.
don't know what's the future about that.
Definitely. It's a very saddening view to look at, but yes, definitely a lot of times I remember वो कोको मेलन आया था तो लोग तो बच्चे तो उसके I remember एक दफा पति ने मैं कहीं गई हुई थी तो वो बच्चा शोर मचा रहा था, पता नहीं उसको कुछ चाहिए तो माँ ने उसको आराम से फोन पकड़ा दिया, कोको मेलन लगा के और आराम से बैठा रहा. मैं कहा ऐसे तो नहीं ना काम बनता. But anyways, moving on, yes, very valid point. Coming on to our last slide for the day for this event. Now that we've talked about what excessive screen time is, the detrimental consequences to it, and like the whole phenomena of it, we're going to look at strategies for living a very balanced digital health life. Now, as we all know, और भी मैंने भी आपसे बड़ी कहानियां सुनी है, cultivating a balanced digital life is essential for mental well-being. So that requires a lot of intentional boundaries. So set intentional limits. For example, अपना screen time intentionally हम intentionally एक intention बताएं, नियत बनाएं कि ना आज के लिए you'll only use your phone for like 2 hours a day, or yeah, in those 2 hours you're going to do this and you're going to do this. And then you should have device free dinners, no phone walks. I've taken a lot of no phone walks and they're literally so amazing. Um, Create boundaries, yeah, all of that, and then minimize digital noise, where you utilize not do not disturb modes. Okay, whenever you're doing work or whenever you're doing important work, you put your phone in more focus mode or like in do not disturb mode, that none other than important notifications come on your screen. And then practicing mindfulness, that is a very very evidence based method of practicing mindfulness, where you can like restore your mental clarity, reduce cognitive overload. This is very very helpful in like literally helping your brain recover, or like letting your brain rest even for 10 minutes. It does wonders. Prioritize real life, focus on real life connections, on creating real life connections, leading with empathy, identifying crucial social cues by, and you'll only be able to do that once you hang out with people. And please अपनी company भी सही रखें, तो और आपको क्या चाहिए? Engage in good habits, engage in very good habits to strengthen genuine connections. Definitely sleep hygiene अपनी improve करें, जैसे मैंने previously mentioned, avoid screens 1 to 2 hours before bedtime. Sleep quality भी अच्छी होगी और duration भी अच्छी होगी. And then one of the most important things, which should have been point number one, is like you need to curate digital content. As I've said, people who post on social media post a very tiny fraction of their lives, which is highly curated and highly polished, जो असल में थोड़ी देर के लिए होएगा. So you need to follow and you need to look after things, and you need to engage in things which bring you happiness, which promotes learning, which promotes positivity, which promotes your overall well-being. For example, um, Islamic lectures, Islamic reminders, or like self-education talks, or like cat videos. I don't think they could ever be bad. Cats are so cute. But anything that is positive, anything that brings you joy, and not feelings of envy, low self-worth, and low self-esteem, or feelings of anxiety, depression, because all of that consequently leads to distorted thinking patterns, and that in the end leads to suicidal ideation, which we do not want. That is not like a set framework for everybody, but that is, from what research has said, is like the baseline for what technically happens. And this concludes the end. This marks the end of my presentation. I hope you guys liked it. Thank you for being so interactive and so engaging. One question I would like to leave you with is, what's one digital habit you could change this week to feel more in control of your time and attention? What do you guys think? I would love to hear your thoughts and your intentions. Set your intentions now. Yes, Sumbul.
Miss decreasing screen time.
Yes, definitely. And yes. Um,
Okay, I would
Muhammad.
like to tell about something that I did personally. I I have put timer on different apps like Instagram because that was the most used app. So I literally put a timer of 15 minutes or like 1 hour to reduce the time, and I literally did 2 weeks of detox,
Mm.
and it has
And,
reduced so much screen time.
and how did that make you
And
feel?
switching, it was really good.
Mm.
It literally made me feel so good because Instagram is not reality. That is one thing that everyone needs to understand. That girls are mostly the teenagers are affected by this. That we want those dresses and everything that they see on social media, but really need to understand that everything is not true. They are getting those dresses and shoes and even vacations are for PRs, and they are literally getting paid to create that FOMO. So we
Exactly.
need to understand that.
Yes, yes. सारी सुंबल की बात सुने, definitely. Yes, but that is a very, very good thing that you've done. And I've also done numerous digital detoxes, and it literally feels so relieving and like so opening, and you just like you can conquer the world now with actual positive things. So yes, digital detoxes are the way to go. Fixing my sleep schedule, yes. I have an app through which I track my screen time. That's very good. That's very good. If not, at least try decreasing. Yeah, definitely. सारी चीजें एक ही दफा तो नहीं, ऐसे ही तो नहीं ना हो जानी. It's always one step at a time. Like for example, अगर if you're thinking about like actually decreasing your screen time and you recognize the negative effects that you are having, that is step number one. That is very good. Step number two is slowly but surely decrease the time that you're on those apps. You need to first identify which app is the most detrimental to you, which app makes you feel the worst. And then फिर उस ऐप से शुरू करें और उस ऐप को लाइक फॉर एग्जांपल अगर आप घंटा भी एक घंटा भी लगाती हैं ना उस ऐप पे, आहिस्ता आहिस्ता कर लें 45 minutes, आहिस्ता आहिस्ता कर लें 30 minutes. So start with small increments and slowly but surely inshallah नीयत साफ है तो आपका काम क्यों नहीं होएगा. But yes, it's always one step at a time, nothing like that. I will prioritize my work first, definitely. Definitely automatically reduce my screen. हाँ फिर दिल ही नहीं ना चाहता जाने को. Exactly. When you're busy and doing something productive, you spend less time on your phones. Totally agree
Saman,
with you.
I have a bit comment, एक दो
Yes,
comment देना चाहूँगा especially.
of course.
First of all, I would like to appreciate Team Therapy Wellness because I have been part of this activity first time. अच्छा दूसरा importantly जो आपने I think this last slide share किया, I think there is a need to cascade it at society's level on constant basis. Number two, और जो सबसे important point का है कि everyone needs to prioritize कि हमें क्या constructive चीजें follow करनी है for ourselves, for our loved ones. हमें किन चीजों को prioritize करना है और अपने मोबाइल में रखना है या नहीं रखना है. That is important. Or number three, I think I'm sorry to say, although we all are living with certain values, with ethics, हमारी family क्या करती है, हम क्या करते हैं. I think I'm sorry to say जो TikTok पे जो कुछ चल रहा है, Instagram पे चल रहा है, हाँ दूसरा बंदा बरासी बनने की कोशिश कर रहा है. Sorry to say this, but this is fact. हमें उनको नहीं follow करना, हमें अपनी values और ethics को follow करना है. I think that will be a more constructive way to bring change in ourselves और हमारे network में. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. Yet again, it's all about actually recognizing कि ये मसले हो रहे हैं, and then उसके लिए आपने क्या करना है. And the first thing is obviously prioritizing what's important for you, and then slowly but surely seek knowledgeable content. And then if we aren't using other apps and we're reading novels, is that also bad? I don't think that's bad because novels actually increase. I don't remember the specific term, but it really increases your brain plasticity and the words that you speak. And उसमें आपका ही फायदा हो रहा है ना. You're learning about new stuff. You're learning about new vocabulary. So it's all good, I think. And how and what to help or suggest parents to control excess screen time for students who have already been addicted to it? That is a very, very important question. I think इसमें भी you need to go step by step. You need to इसमें ये हो जाता है ना कि जब excessive screen time पहले हो जाता है, the only reason they're addicted to it is like emotions अच्छी आती हैं. वो conditioning पहले हुई है ना. So the first step is to break that conditioning effect, which would take some time. But if you are diligent and you're like persistent, तो फिर आहिस्ता आहिस्ता you can definitely do it by slowly. Like for example, अगर आप खाने के साथ उसको वो टैबलेट है वो सारा कुछ दे रहे हैं, तो स्लोली बट श्योरली आहिस्ता आहिस्ता वो थोड़ा सा कम करें, तो वी कैन डू दैट. I separate my work apps from my personal apps, definitely. All right, well, I think we are good to go. We've gone 15 minutes overboard. Give them toys. Yes, definitely. Anything that reinforces positive feelings or like actually gives them a lot of value. Thank you guys for this session, for being so interactive and
Yes.
being amazing. Yes.
So much. We are so honored for you and for your time that you have bring such a powerful and much needed conversation from the validation trap to the effects of mental health that you have talked about, whatever insights that you have shared with us. It has helped us to reflect how deeply the digital world is shaping our emotions, our self image, and the way you have encountered the participants' question and the way you have made it so engaging. I'm so thankful and grateful for your time. I will also like to thank all the participants who have joined us today, who have shared their reflections and made this conversation so meaningful. All right, Saman, as we close, I would just like to ask one thing before we wind this up. I just want you to, what's that one message that you would like to leave with our audience about navigating the digital space mindfully? If you could just share your words and we can then wrap it up.
Of course, of course. Thank you so much for this opportunity yet again. And I'm glad you found it helpful. I think one of my top messages would be to myself and to all of you would be definitely to, try to understand or try to really self-reflect on like what's causing all of these negative feelings that you're doing, like you what negative feelings that you're feeling, and start to prioritize what's important. And literally अब अपनी नीयत भी साफ रखें तो और सारे काम सही चलते जाएंगे इंशाल्लाह. Yes, I would love to hear all of the feedback that you guys may have. And then yet again, thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you. Participants can also share their feedback on WhatsApp group. All right. Thank you so much. Take care of yourself. Allah Hafiz.